Really excited to be here. My first webinar Wednesday broadcast, so I thought I'd give you all a break and get a chance to talk to me instead of Matt. But yeah, really excited to be here. The topic that we're covering today is something that's near and dear to my heart. And in fact, one of the reasons that I really got involved with Lab Midwest. Most of you who might know me, I'm a lifelong educator. I've spent several years teaching in a number of different settings. Whether it was guiding young adults through northern Saskatchewan and Nunavut in the Canadian tundra on long 45-day canoe trips, to getting my master's in special education at Cardinal Stritch University, and then actually teaching right here in Milwaukee Public Schools at Bayview Middle and High School, go Red Cats, and also at Ideal School, a small K-8 on the south side. That stands for Individualized Developmental Educational Approaches to Learning. Great school, great experiences here in Milwaukee. And so when I think about today's topic, I really focus on all of the wonderful opportunities that are here for our students in the inner cities who might not even know that there's great careers and lifelong professions just right around the corner. Before we kind of dive into that a little bit further, I want to share a few numbers with you all, a few numbers to consider that, in fall 2020, we have 56.4 million students were projected to attend elementary, secondary schools across the entire United States. Now, be that whether it's in person, online, or doing some type of hybrid model, 50.7 million of those students are in public schools, and even further, 15.4 million were to attend our grades 9 through 12 in our high schools. Of those 15.4 million students, on average, CTE programs serve 94% of all those high school students, whether they're taking one credit or a series of credits. Another example is in 2013 to 2014, over 7.5 million CTE participants participated in their school's CTE program. And 88% of public high schools, dating all the way back to 2002, 88% offered at least one CTE program course of studies. When we talk about trying to solve the skills gap and inspire young people to these awesome careers that we have all around us, the answer is right here. Our public education system, public and private, have the talent. They have the clientele. Our topic today, though, is going to focus a little bit more on schools that receive a lot of challenges, schools in high population areas, inner city, urban schools, something that I've spent a lot of time in. And I'm not here to pick on any one school district or, education as a whole. I just want to point out a few things that, really make it difficult for young people in urban cities to be exposed to these different careers. A few more numbers to consider. This graph is fascinating to me. Of the 42% of students who attended high school in 2017, 42% of them were at or below the poverty line. And most of those, as you can see on the left side of the screen, reside in city or urban school settings. And you can see the comparison that students that were in suburban areas or small townships, their low poverty level students were much lower. The percentages just don't match up. According to the NSC Research Center, graduates of low income and high minority high schools completed college within 6 years at the lowest rate of 27%, which in contrast, that is 24 percentage points from the rate of graduates of higher income or low minority schools at 51%. Just staggering difference in numbers between those different populations. From there, when students get to after high school, the college enrollment rates, you'll see across the board, high poverty schools, low income schools, high minority schools, they all seem to have students enroll at a lower rate to those post-secondary degree programs. And the disparity gets even worse when students are looking to finish those programs, finish those within 6 years. So looking at this data from 2018, able to track that the class of 2012 really did not have the chance to complete those different post-secondary degree programs. The reason I'm sharing this with all of you is that there's a ton of challenges that live in the world of education. And I experienced those challenges in my own classroom. And I know educators from all walks of life, all different areas experience those similar difficulties. And really what I like to focus on is I'm not going to be able to solve all of the world's education problems. I think if there was that one answer to make the US education system fit and work for everyone, you would definitely be a millionaire and be a genius and be at the top of the newsreels. What I focused on when I was teaching is what I could control in my classroom, the students that I could impact every day, the students that I knew I could work with, and I could hopefully inspire them to do something better with their life, or at least pursue an awesome career. So today, we're going to showcase one of those success stories in an urban school setting with high poverty rates, almost 100% of free school lunch qualifying students. So we're going to enter in Dave Kuntz. Dave Kuntz, who's a technical education instructor at Obama High School of Career and Tech Ed here in the Milwaukee Public School District. Dave came to the Milwaukee area from Minneapolis, Minnesota in 1975, and he started teaching in Menominee Falls. But then he had a short stint of working in industry at Johnson Controls. He was a project manager there. He was doing industrial training. And then he came back from industry to the classroom, and he's been teaching secondary CTE and robotics, secondary and post-secondary ever since. So Dave's got a grand total of 47 years in education, and he's going to be our expert panelist today. So Dave, I want to loop you in and welcome you to the webinar. We're really happy that you're here.
Yeah, thanks, Mike, for having me today.
Awesome. So Dave, we're going to start with just a couple of questions. First one, pretty straightforward. Why did you get into teaching?
Well, I had a shop teacher, and I think that's probably most of the time where kids want to be shop teachers, is that I had a shop teacher that said, hey, I think you could be good at this. And I really did enjoy, as a senior, working with all the freshmen, because I knew the machine shop pretty well. And as these kids would have issues or problems or have a question, a lot of times they came to me rather than going to Mr. Jacobson, and I was able to help fill in for him. We had a really nice community college not too far from us at UW Stout, which was their primary goal was to teach tech ed teachers. So it was only about 60 minutes away from the Minneapolis area. So I decided that I would go to college and become a teacher.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I believe all of us aspiring educators have some teacher in mind that really pushed us into that career path, and definitely thankful for it. You know, just kind of moving along, you work in Milwaukee Public Schools, largest school district in Wisconsin, largest number of students and number of schools that participate in their programs. How are those CTE programs organized here in Milwaukee?
Well, we have a central CTE office that helps us delegate not only equipment but resources, and they do a fantastic job of giving us that support. We're encouraged then to have a number of issues here at the school. As far as our programming is concerned, we have to have sequence of courses that are very, very important. They want us to have an after-school club, and in our case, we do Skills USA, which works with our kids. We want to have the school to work program, so what we call youth apprenticeship, so that the students then at their senior year would then be able to go out and work in industry and be able to have a job where they would get the credit and also get the work placement. We're also asked to create dual credit courses. So our local college, technical college here is Milwaukee Area Technical College. And we have 4 courses right now that we have as dual credit, to where as they take the course, they not only get the high school credit, but they also get the credit at the technical college, which means they have 2 transcripts, one from our local college, Milwaukee Area Technical College, and also from the high school. And that allows them to start their associate degree program early, saving them time and money when they move and graduate in the 12th grade.
Yeah, absolutely. Those are just incredible experiences to provide students and give them that step above the competition as they get out into the workforce and get involved in those post-secondary programs. So in speaking of competition, Dave, word on the street is that you have a pretty successful program that has done quite well at Skills USA. Why don't you share with everyone a little bit more about
Yeah,
that?
well, I had to put a little product placement back there too for you to see.
Nice.
We started the Skills USA here at Obama back in 2006, and we worked our way through with our students coming in. We worked real hard. We were doing technical drafting. We were doing job interview skills, job demonstration. The young man that you see here, we started a new contest that year in radio and broadcasting. We also do the robotics now. So we've expanded a little bit since the 2006 mark. But our first state champion that we ended up was in technical drafting back in 2012. And we've never looked back since, with multiple places in not only robotics, but job interview, job demonstration. We also are, something the kids like to make are these little CO2 race cars. And we've been the state champion now 2 years in a row with our little race cars. So the kids really enjoy it. We have about 64 students that are involved in it. And since we're K-12, we also have a middle school here, which then Monica Hall is our individual that works with those students, and she just does a fantastic job. And then we travel together as a team, which is really a lot of fun when we get a bus and we go to the colleges or the technical college around Wisconsin, and they get a real kick out of staying in the hotel and getting a college tour the first day, and then the second day we go compete. And last year we had a total of 62 medals in our pocket just at the regional level. So we were very, very excited. And then our, just like everybody else, in March with the COVID-19 system, it kind of shut everything down for us. So we're looking forward to this year and really getting back at it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And how many times has your robotics team made it to nationals down in Louisville, Kentucky?
Well, we're 6 years running, 6 years in a row now. We've been state champions. I guess my question, is that a legacy or is that a dynasty? I guess that's.
I think it's got to be a dynasty. That's incredible. Yeah, and again, a great experience. I've been down to those national competitions, and it's just amazing to see the scale.
But you have a picture
students
there of Nathan Mason, who was a transfer student from us from the Green Bay area, and he spent 2 years with us. And just an amazing child to be able to pick it up just that fast and be able to run that robot. And he won in 2019. He and Romero Williams were the it says in the article that they won the contest last year and went to nationals. And he right now is attending Fox Valley Technical College in robotics and automation.
Absolutely, that's incredible. Yeah, and every time I talk to you, Dave, just the way that you are able to relate and work with your students, it's just incredible to see. Now, you recently made kind of the foray into working with industrial robotics. So you actually added a Fanuc Robot to your program. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about what motivated you to go down that route?
Well, we have a class called Robotics and Automation, and we use the blue robot here, which is from Intelitech. And the picture that you see is on our state board, on our contest board, and we integrate that with a Siemens controller, which is called a Logo. Now, kids have gotten pretty good at it, and this obviously is an educational type robot, and the courses revolving around that are directly related to our skills contest. But as we continue to move down the road, it was quite clear to me and to our CTE offices that there had to be another step, because this little blue robot is not going to be at some of our local companies like a Harley Davidson and some of the ones that you may be aware of that are housed here in Milwaukee. Another one would be Briggs and Stratton. They needed one more step, and they needed that go between the school robot and a functional industrial robot. And your company was instrumental. We really want to thank Lab Midwest for all the efforts that they made for us to be able to purchase this, because it was so much of the legwork that you guys did that brought the funding for us to be able to purchase a robot like this. And now we're in the process of making an advanced robot course, which will include the certifications that Fanuc offers, as well as we're sticking with Siemens control, and we're going with their high-end automation, their high-end PLC, in order to integrate it with. And we've been talking with Allen Bradley to see if they're interested in helping us provide that step between the robot and the automation side of it.
You bring up a good point there, Dave. You mentioned funding. I mean, of course, nothing in education is usually cheap, and usually that's a big challenge and prevents a lot of programs from taking some of those steps. Why don't you tell us, how were you able to fund and build your program like this?
Well, do you want to go to the next slide, and then we can see some of the funding pieces there? Yeah. So the Perkins grant is a federal grant that all school districts get based on their school population and based on the kind of courses that you have. The federal government has increased the requirements for Perkins to 5 general areas. And when you asked me an original question about the kinds of program that we offer here, I think I mentioned about all 5 of those requirements. So we fit real well into the Perkins scheme of things, and we end up with a portion of that. We have to split it up between the Milwaukee Public Schools, high schools that have CTE programs, but it helps us pay for equipment. We can partially pay for equipment that you saw, and we'll get into how we chunked up the yellow robot, your Fanuc robot. It also helps us pay for Perkins, like paras and other resources that we can have in our classroom. And then the other piece came from the state of Wisconsin through the Department of Workforce Development. And what they had is what's called a Fast Forward grant, where they had matching funds that if we spent X number of dollars, then they would match those funds in order to do that. And being a district as large as we are, we were able to fairly easily put together enough money to fund for that robot to be able to get to the magic number in which, we have one sitting here right now. Because of the size of our district, it was relatively easy. Once we started adding up all the things that we've already bought throughout the district for CTE, we were real blessed that they chose us to provide us with the yellow, I keep saying yellow robot. I got my T-shirt here too, so I got more product, more product placement. But the Fanuc has just been so much fun to work with, and I really enjoy it. And I think once we can get our kids back in the classroom, I think they're going to have. It's just such a great learning tool of the the pictures that you saw of this little learning station, that it's so adaptable, and we're adding pieces to it now that we're able to buy with our regular Perkins dollars. Plus we make things. We make our own light stations. We make little gadgets and little fixtures that we can put together. And being an old shop guy, it comes pretty easy over in the wood shop to be able to put stuff together.
Yeah, well, and I like when you brought up these 2 grant resources that, it's really a tie to industry, or, making sure that we're helping expand the training capacity of our CTE programs to hopefully get more kids excited about, careers in automation and robotics. So, in that mindset, how was the transition working from, an education-based robot to a more authentic industrial robot?
Well, the curriculum is pretty much the same. I mean, you're moving pieces from A to B, and you notice that our kids love to paint. So I gave them a bunch of cubes, and we went ahead and painted different colors. So it even does matter that if you're moving a brown cube with the blue robot, you can move a yellow one with the yellow robot, or you can move a yellow, the colors are the same. It's just a matter of placement is the same. It's just a matter then of finding the different ways in which the IntelliTech robot moves and how you program it versus how the Fanuc is programmed. And really then it's just a matter of, okay, I needed to do this, this, and this, and you can see they're both moving cubes around and moving product. It's just a matter of how do I get this robot to do this? And it's actually the same type of controls. And I just step back and get out of the way, because I get kids that want to do this, and the IntelliTech, when they come to class, it has to take about a 10-minute cycle to get to its home position. And my students get mad if I haven't started it before they come to class, because they don't want to waste 10 minutes waiting for the robot just to home itself, and they want to get right at it. So it's been pretty exciting, and it's really a pleasure to watch them learn.
I love that you're, all of this is part of the progression, using the equipment and tools that you have, getting those core foundational skills, and then, expanding into, working with, what students are going to see on the job in an industry. So, I guess my next question is, what's the future? What's happening next? You're starting to work with, a different robot platform with more advanced programming and capabilities, but where do you see yourself going next?
Well, the robot has to be tied to something. All of the robots have to be. There has to be a hook between what we do in the school and what happens in industry or at the technical college. And as we here in our building did our research for the Fanuc Corporation, is they offer really nice certification packages that the students can get right here while they're in high school, and then take that with them to one of the colleges that worked real close with us is Lakeshore Technical College here up along the lake. And we bussed up about 25 kids up there, and they spent all day with them working with the robots and getting them ready for a contest that we first tried to start here in Wisconsin. And you were a key member of that, to have our first specific contest related to the Fanuc robot, so that when they can get that certification, that's a stepping stone to walking right into a technical college to further their education. High school kids are not going to be walking right out of here and being, going to be those expert robot programmers. They need a couple more years, and we're fortunate in Wisconsin to have the 2-year technical college system that we have. And many of these colleges are adapting the Fanuc robot to where you see them pop up all over the place. In that I'm aware of 4 technical colleges now that will be starting programs next year with this Fanuc platform. So it was just a natural progression for us to take a look at how our students can progress with the new course that we're putting together. With you can see in one of the pictures there, we have the high-end Siemens controller sitting there, and then integrating that with the robot is what industry is all about. Even if they don't end up running the robot, they have a background and certifications that they'll have from the Siemens Corporation in actually being able to program and to operate their PLCs.
I agree 100%. I just think the experience you're giving, students and they're in this situation. I mean, even if they go into welding, CNC, even any type of production position, if they have any experience in industrial robots, they're worth their weight in gold. That's just such a huge skill set that they have right now. And I see you're incorporated. You're starting to get into vision a little bit. It looks like you're starting to incorporate some of your other pieces of automation equipment. I mean, that's really what it's all about, is the integration and using what you have. So
yeah, our next step is to add vision control. And we've standardized on a Cognex camera, and that's the picture that we're working with here on the far right hand side, where we're experimenting with the camera, and we're going to be adding that both to the IntelliTech robot, and hopefully our second robot that we're going to purchase from Lab Midwest will include the visual package, and we'll have the futuristic of giving a robot vision, so that the kids can see then how that incorporates. And And that's, I'm excited. That's, that's a new phase that I guess I really enjoy this stuff. And I'm just having a great time.
Yeah, no, I could tell. And again, just the way that you talk about your students, and, I've definitely worked with some of your students before at the competitions. It's incredible what you're showing them, what's right in their backyard. And that's really what it's all about, is inspiring them to these awesome careers. I believe we have a couple more minutes left in our time today. So Melissa, do we have any questions from the audience coming through?
Yeah, first question, Dave, if you could speak to this, how did you get your administration on board this project to purchase the Fanuc robot? How did you get them to support this endeavor?
Well, we've had now for the last 5 years, we've had a principal by the name of Carol McKay, and she is sold lock, stock, and barrel. If you look at our name, it's career and technical education. So our school is totally revolving around the courses that we set up. So it's not only just me, but it's also the English teachers that are providing resumes and those types of writing materials. Our math department are giving us the trigonometry skills to be able to work with the robot. And she recognized early on that these are the courses that our students need. We, here in our building, given the background that these kids come from, I mean, most of these kids are not going to be doctors and lawyers. So we have to give them some tools so that they can be successful. And that's really the key to whether the child runs a robot, or if he can pound nails to be a carpenter, or if he can solder pipe to become a plumber. We also, just off topic a little bit, but we have a really nice HVAC program here that we offer as well. So I don't have to do a lot of selling. I let the kids do the work in terms of, their progress, their success. It's, and the organization really helps. For Skills USA here, the representative that we have in Wisconsin will come out and talk to administration people. So once you have those folks on board, I don't really have to sell much. I mean, the program sells itself, and the kids with their success are really the whole selling point behind our program.
Absolutely. That's great to hear that collaboration between everybody in the school. One last question that we have time for, Dave, how do you manage a classroom with maybe a full classroom of students when you have 1 or 2 robots? Can you tell us how you manage that?
Well, it's not just 1 or 2 robots, but each one of these programs have simulators. So Fanuc we have 25 seats of the package that the Fanuc actually is simulated on a computer. The Blue Robot and Teletech, we have each one of those has a program called Cell Setup and RoboCell. So the students each have their own computer, and inside of each computer is the software and the program that they can actually run these programs. They write the program, they watch the simulator do it, they grab their jump stick, they come up to our robots, and we take turns. And actually I have 4 of the blue ones that we rotate through. So there's plenty of work that they can do. But on a simulator, it works just like the real thing. But, on the real thing, they understand that, well, they don't understand that gravity matters. And there's some little quirks about a real robot that work a little different than the online one. But that's how we manage this, with all the simulating packages that are out there. Both Teletech and Fanuc sell that. So that's what we have.
Awesome. Thanks, Dave. It looks like we've hit our 30-minute mark here and wrapping things up on Webinar Wednesday. Just wanted to thank Dave again for your time, for being our guest speaker and sharing your insights and your story. It's been great hearing from you. Thanks to Mike Dietrich for being our host today and for just doing a great job interviewing Dave and giving just some incredible, insightful background information on some of the struggles that these larger urban school districts are facing and the ways that we can support those students on their career pathways. That's it for us this week on Webinar Wednesday. We look forward to seeing you next week here at 2 p.m. Central. Have a great day.